Hello, everybody. So today I want to talk about Nvidia. Nvidia's earnings were absolutely outstanding, both on the top line and the bottom line. You know, I care about top line. Top line came in 20% higher than what analysts predicted. Absolutely stunning. This company has a product that is really resonating with the professional customer, with big tech. This company is a marvel of our era, and this is an absolutely wonderful company. And I used to own Nvidia, and you know, I've always I think lacked some understanding on Nvidia, which is why I sold it. And this video is kind of my, you know, was I wrong to sell Nvidia? And you know, this is also something I want to say is, you know, we have a bunch of outdated men who literally can't look at a forward indicator. They look at a lagging indicator. And so they release an old PDF that looks like something that's out of the 1950s saying, oh, we may need more rate hikes. And then a company that is a marvel of the 21st century, a company that is going to revolutionize the 21st century, just like steel, just like oil, just like electricity revolutionized the late 1800s, early 1900s. That company might end up in the red right now, even though literally the products of this company are changing the world. And the tens of thousands of engineers working in that company, you know, I mean, it's just awful. It's like, yeah, we should have had a very green day. I don't get emotional, but this is very, very, very upsetting. And, you know, this is like worse than just a small cap. You know, a small cap does outstanding earnings, and you're like, okay, well, it's only a $1 billion company, right? It's not life-changing yet, right? This is a company right now that's in its prime, and the fact that it's going to end up in the red, I just cannot even comment on that. So I'm just gonna not talk about the macro, right? The market is crazy. We know that it's manic depressive, but sometimes it's just beyond anything crazy. And this is a company. I listened to the full call yesterday. You know, the opening remarks of Nvidia, kind of boring. The tone of the woman presenting, I thought was kind of boring. But gosh, the Jensen Huang parts. I mean, he has a pulse on this industry. This company is the king of AI. It is the absolute leader, and it doubled revenue growth. At the surprise of everybody, including me. And so the question is, was I wrong to sell Nvidia? So let me get started. So I sold Nvidia about 6 months ago, before this big AI revenue surge, and I sold it for a nice profit. So I was happy because this is a stock that I had bought actually in August of 2022, right during that market slump, right. And so I was happy. I made a nice profit, you know, and obviously in hindsight, it was a terrible idea to sell it. I should have kept it. But the point is, what's the revenue growth that I should use in my framework, right? It's really, really, really tough to know which revenue growth to use, because this is all like whether I deem a stock overvalued or undervalued in this framework will have everything to do with the revenue growth. Like a little bit of the gross margin, of course, but not nearly as much as the revenue growth. The revenue growth is the most important thing for me to decide whether I want to sell a stock or not. And revenue growth has reached 100% year over year now, and analysts were only predicting, when I sold the stock, 15 to 20%-ish. I went back and looked at the prior videos. That's what they were predicting. So analysts were way wrong. And so the question now becomes, what if Nvidia doubles revenue again over the next 12 months? What if they pull it off again? After all, there's no signs of slowing down. Companies are struggling to get their hands on the product. It could happen. What if revenues double again for Nvidia in the next 12 months? Well, if that were to happen, this stock would actually not be expensive in the way I value stocks. It would be in line with Tesla. If that were to happen, if we had 100% revenue growth, it would be in line with Tesla. So perfectly fine for me to buy this stock if this were to happen. Now, this is where the problem comes, because should we trust analysts? Should analysts be trusted? Because we're talking about almost a mistake by one order of magnitude. Remember, this is a company whose growth rate analysts were predicted were in the teens. We're almost talking about one order of magnitude mistake of the analysts. So should we trust the analysts? And the answer to that is no, absolutely not. But if we can't trust the analysts, then I have to rely on my own knowledge of the space. My own knowledge of the space is what I have to rely on. Now, I believe I have a lot of knowledge on Tesla and Enphase. I've been following these companies for a long time. I've been owning them for a long time. And this is literally my hobby. That's, in the evening before going to bed, I watch YouTube. I watch like an hour of stuff on Tesla or on Enphase every day for 3+ years. So I believe I know these companies really, really well. I don't do that on Nvidia. Right? I don't do that on Nvidia. I don't tune in to the Nvidia channel. I don't tune in to the IT channel. So who should I listen to make up my own estimates, right? It's very, very tough to know, which is why in this case, when I was making the analysis, I relied on the analysts' estimate, which the analysts were way off, way wrong. So if there is a YouTuber out there who's a better analyst than the Wall Street analysts, which I'm sure there are, I would really appreciate if you give them to me in the comment. That way I can really analyze Nvidia through that lens, because I got it all wrong. And so here's the thing. In these estimates, if I were to look at Nvidia and look at 100%, I would have to blindly trust the Nvidia Bull. And, I am inclined to trust them much more, by the way, much more than the Wall Street analysts, because those Nvidia Bulls, they make very good points. The products are leaps and bounds ahead of AMD. That's true. I mean, they're essentially a monopoly. At this point, AMD is 6 to 9 months late in their latest generation product, right? They're the king of AI. I believe it's true, too. Their products power everything underlying all of the transformer systems, all of the GPT, ChatGPT, Bard, powered by all of this. They sell everything they make. Yes, that is true, and we have information from Tesla trying to get all of our products. The problem is that I don't know enough about the field. I've never used any of our products. I don't know enough about all of the nitty-gritty that goes into me actually coming up to my own conclusion and telling myself, yes, it's true, revenue growth is going to be 100%, and I arrive at this conclusion by myself. I can't arrive at this conclusion by myself. However, when it comes to Tesla or Enphase, I can arrive at 50% growth for the foreseeable future by myself, just by looking at the ramp of factories and how quickly they're ramping their factories, looking at how fast the energy division is growing compared to the car division, which means that we can totally get away with only 40% growth in the car business, and the energy business more than adding enough growth to get past that 50% revenue growth threshold. I don't have any issue and any lack of confidence in either my Tesla number, my revenue growth number for Tesla, which is 50%, and my Enphase number, revenue growth number for Enphase, which is 33%, which, by the way, both of those are higher than analysts because they're my own and I've put my research. But on Nvidia, I have to rely on someone else. Unless I become an expert at Nvidia, I would have to rely on someone else. So that's point number one. And if you have some resources about understanding Nvidia and the size of that market and the revolution brewing in that market, I would love if you could share it, because I clearly missed that one. I clearly missed that one, and it's my fault. I was using the analysts, and here's the problem with the analysts. That's the problem with the analysts. If you use the analyst's number, this is what I'm going to get in my spreadsheet if I use the analyst numbers, because the analysts are still saying 30% growth over the next 12 months for Nvidia. They're saying 30% growth right now. If you look at it on FactSet right now, they're saying it's going to be 30% growth, which would be way off of what the bulls of Nvidia say. Way off. I mean, we're talking about 3 times as little as what the bulls say. So, of course, in my analysis, if I use the analyst's estimate, which for me is the best thing I have because I am not an expert in Nvidia's future growth, if I use that, then I'm getting towards a very expensive stock. Then Nvidia looks like a very, very expensive stock. If I use the estimates of, say, analysts for Tesla or Enphase, okay, it doesn't look as expensive as Nvidia, right? So analysts are a little more aligned with retail investors when it comes to Tesla and Enphase. They're a little more aligned, but I'm still getting much higher valuations than if I use my own numbers, because analysts are heavily sandbagging and giving low guidance in my view, at least for Tesla. For Enphase, we're pretty close, because I'm saying a third, 33% of growth, and they're saying 30%. So we're pretty close on Enphase, but for Tesla, we're way off. Like my estimate for Tesla is 50%. So 34% is way off, and so that makes Tesla look expensive in my spreadsheet if I were to listen to analysts. But the fact that analysts are out of touch with Tesla is very well documented. It's well documented that our analysts are out of touch with Tesla. We know it full well. Maybe it's time to document the fact that analysts are entirely out of touch with Nvidia. And, I'm looking for that number. What is that number? What is the number of the 12 months? The next 12 months, what's it going to be? Because if it isn't, is 100%, and what if it is 150%, by the way? What if it's more than 100%? If it's more than 100%, I want to get back into the stock, especially when they had one of the best quarter I've ever seen for a company, and the stock is likely going to end the day down, especially when I see this reaction. I'm like, this is a gift. If it's actually 100%, I need to know. I want to know. So anyways, the moral of the story is what? I missed out on big gains on Nvidia. But I am upset about it, but I do not blame myself. And the reason why I do not blame myself on this is because I did not possess enough conviction to keep this stock. Like if I had the conviction that I have in Tesla and I had sold Tesla, I would be blaming myself. But it's a story of knowns and knowns and unknowns and knowns. When it comes to Nvidia, I had too many unknowns, which did not lead me to keep this stock. I did not have enough conviction to keep Nvidia. Did not have the level of conviction that I have in Nvidia compared to Tesla and Enphase, where I have a lot of conviction on Tesla and Enphase. And essentially, no matter what, I'm not selling those two stocks, right? Tesla and Enphase, I'm not selling no matter what. If I had been a gamer, if I had been in IT, I might have had the conviction to not sell my Nvidia no matter what, right? The stock, if it doubles again, if revenues doubled again on Nvidia, it is fairly valued, right? But the problem is I need to come up to that conclusion myself. I need to, by myself, on my own, estimate, forecast on my own that the sales will double over the next 12 months. Can I do that? For now, I don't have the tools to do that. I can't do that for now. I don't have the pulse. I don't have the tools to be able to forecast on my own a doubling of the revenues of Nvidia. So if you're watching the channel, let me ask you this. Are you an Nvidia bull, right? Have you ever used the Nvidia products, and have you witnessed how much better their products are compared to the competition, right? Compared to AMD, namely. How much better is an Nvidia GPU compared to an AMD GPU? Is it an order of magnitude better, or is it 20% better, right? If you have experience with a product, you're more inclined to know about this stock, right? Do you work in IT? Do you see your company pay more than $100,000 for one A100 server with 6 GPUs in it? Do you see that? Do you see your company paying, $20,000 for a single GPU? Is this something that you're witnessing in your IT? Do you have any concerns about cyclicality? This is one of the concerns that again, I do not know, because unfortunately I'm not an industry insider here. Is this going to be a question of stock or a question of flow, in the sense that are companies updating their data center, of which Jensen Huang on the call said there was about $1 trillion worth of data center that needed updating? Are they updating their data center and then running the new chips and just sitting tight, sitting cozy for 2 to 3 years until the next revolution happens? Or is this a perpetual thing? Are they constantly updating the data centers, which is why we know the semi industry has been very cyclical in the past, with booms and bust. Are we still going to go through booms and bust in the semi business, or are we not? Have we entered a new era of AI, right? This is something that only an insider or someone who's deeply passionate about this would know more than I do. Somebody technical would know this, right? And also, and this is, I think, a red flag for many investors, but also for me, is what are your beliefs about the China and TSMC situation? And I just want to be clear, I don't think there's going to be a conflict. But I know a piece of news. I mean, you could have a bad piece of news, and then the stock could get, entirely mistreated by the market just on the basis of rumors. So you would have to have a pretty strong understanding and a strong belief on the geopolitics of TSMC and of China, as well as the ban, right? The ban on GPUs with China. You would have to have a very good understanding of that to really establish that this is not a problem, that this is not a red flag. I think this is a binary thing, because if you think there's going to be a lot of geopolitical problems with TSMC, then that's a red flag and I would stay away, right? But if you establish that it is in fact not a red flag, you would need to have insider knowledge, in my view, to really clear that issue out of the way and clear that possibility out of the way. So was I wrong to sell Nvidia? My portfolio thinks so, because the returns are not as much as they would have been if I had kept Nvidia. But as far as my style of investing, I'm okay, because I did not sell a core position and I sold it with a profit. Now, if that had been Enphase or Tesla, I would have been very wrong, because these are core positions. Nvidia was never a core position for me, nor were any semi stocks. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is just entertainment. I hope you were entertained. I appreciate all of your likes, appreciate your subscribes. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.